So, let's start off with the state of YouTube. Let me turn off my fucking Bluetooth here. I just realized that's still connected. So let me start off with the problem with YouTube. There are a lot of professionals who claim to have been doing certain things for a long time, and yet I'm constantly realizing when these people open their mouth occasionally, they're just fucking idiots. A great example of this is if you go on YouTube and you look up. Hang on, I'm looking for my remote here. If you look up Epos Vox, a year ago he made a video called "Why I Won't Switch to Linux for Video Protection Ever," and I honestly don't know how the fuck he's been using Linux for 25 fucking years, and he doesn't know that FAT32, and this is a year ago, so here's how I know he's a fucking idiot. FAT32 and exFAT do work on Linux if you install the Samsung driver at the time. Of course, nowadays, I think it was kernel... which kernel was it? I think it's 5.4. It's supported, though. It has been supported for the longest time. So the fact that he couldn't get it working means he wasn't aware of that fact. Maybe he should have done more research before opening his mouth. 5.4, yeah. Before 5.4, you had to use Samsung driver. And then he also said something about H2.64 doesn't work. All these videos I use using Simple Screen Recorder are using H.264. Keep in mind, I'm not a fucking professional video editor. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time. I don't know where my camera went, but I have a small camera that records in 4K H.264, and I can edit that just fine in Kdenlive. I honestly don't know what other people in the Linux community are doing that's causing Kdenlive to fucking crash all the time. I honestly couldn't tell you. I've never had a problem with Kdenlive crashing, and I've used it a lot. It's just fucking around. Of course, my hardware is old as shit, and it takes 12 hours on average to fucking render a video, after taking 4K, transcoding it to 1080p, and all that shit. So, there's a lot of misinformation on YouTube, even from the professionals who have been doing this a long time. And if you know a thing or two about what they're talking about, it's not hard to see that these people are just fucking idiots, and they didn't do enough research. And maybe they should have done more research before opening their fucking mouths. And nowhere is that more true today than NVIDIA just released their 3000 series, 3070, 3080, 3090, and whatnot. And, it's just constant fucking all over fucking YouTube right now. Oh, AMD's fucking dead on arrival, they have fucking nothing. And, it's more this sensationalism and, people not knowing what the fuck they're talking about. And today I'd really like to demonstrate a few things to you guys, if I can. So let's go on YouTube. Because I really want to highlight something in terms of AMD. And I want you to keep in mind that the, let me minimize this a little bit. I want you to keep in mind that the RTX 2080 Ti is $1,200 fucking dollars. Again, not my video. Just want to show you guys a few videos to kind of highlight something here. We're gonna get to the fucking thing here. Okay, so which one of these is NVIDIA? NVIDIA's on the right, okay. So, on average, on this Far Cry thing, we're looking at maybe 115, about 15, 20 frames difference. So about 20 frame difference between a $700 card and a $1,200 card. And it's kind of a similar story with the 5700 XT. You know, he's fucking putting in all the settings. I don't game on fucking computers. I prefer consoles for a multitude of reasons. But, as you can see here, the average frame per second on 28 Ti is 93. It's about 70 on the 5700 XT. So about 25, 30 frames per second on average is what I've been seeing. So, my biggest fucking thing is AMD has had cards publicly available that can pretty much compete with 2080 Ti already. I mean, the Radeon 7 and the 5700 XT, you know, for 20 frames more, is it really worth, you know, twice the price? Almost twice the price with Radeon 7, it's $700, so that'd be $1,400. So about almost twice the price on that, and 3 times the price, because I think the 5700 XT is what, $400, 4, 8, 12, about 3 times the price. Is it really worth spending that much more money and not really getting drastically better performance? I mean, you're only getting like 30, 40 frames more on average in games. Granted, to me that's not really significant, but I don't play games on fucking PC. But I would argue, no, it's fucking not, especially if you're, you know, video editing or something. If you can get comparable performance for far cheaper and you can put that money towards something else you might need, like RAM, I would argue get the cheaper graphics card and spend the money on RAM, but that's just me. And then there's a card no one really seems to be talking about anymore. And that was the Radeon Pro Vega 2 Duo, which was what I'd like to call a big fuck you to everyone from AMD. And because it was exclusive to the fucking Mac. This card was on their 7nm. It had 32 gigs of HBM2 memory. It was an incredible fucking card. And on paper, it outperforms the fucking RTX Titan. I mean, we're talking about a card that can easily edit 8K video output to a 6K display, multiple 6K displays, mind you. And on paper, the Radeon Pro Vega 2 Duo could beat the Titan. I'm not sure how much that fucking card costs. It's exclusive to the new Mac. It's a fucking piece of shit. So, You know, you have hundreds of fucking YouTubers and so-called fucking professionals in the industry saying there's no way AMD is going to be able to match the new Ampere. They've already got cards that can match the 2080 Ti almost. 20 frames per second is pretty fucking close for a card that costs 3 times less, or a card that costs half the price. They've already got the Radeon Pro Vega 2 Duo that can beat the fucking RTX 2080 Ti and the Titan. So it's not like they already don't have something here. If they've already got a card on their 7nm that can beat the Titan, and, you know, it's more powerful than 20, it can probably compete with the 3080. I'm not sure about the 3090, but I would argue this card right here, the Radeon, if it can beat the Titan, it can probably compete with the current 3080. I don't know. I don't really have the specs in front of me. I'm speculating, but I would be willing to like to see the results of that. Of course, NVIDIA, Mac, not going to happen really. You'd have to do it on paper, because you can't compare these fucking two things on the same platform. Why would you? Apple fucking sucks. Very restrictive platform there. So it's not like AMD doesn't have anything on the market that can't compete with NVIDIA like a lot of people are saying. They really do. The problem is they do stupid shit like make a graphics card that can beat the Titan but make it restrictive to fucking Apple. You know? Stupid shit like that. Or they don't market it well enough like the Radeon 7. Or they do some other stupid shit. Or the software doesn't optimize the hardware properly. Stupid shit like that. AMD, in general, likes to do occasionally stupid shit. Not as nearly as stupid as, say, take a graphics card and make it cost $1,200 fucking dollars when it is only marginally better than something that costs 3 times less. But I digress. And the problem I have with the community on YouTube is I don't think they're objective. I really don't. If they were, they would be making the same points I'm making, which is, hey, for 20, 30 frames per second on average in a video game, is it worth spending $1,200 over $700? Is it worth spending $1,200 over $400 when you could buy either of those cards, the $400 5700 XT versus the $700 Radeon 7, and yeah, sure, you're getting like 30 frames per second less on average, but you're saving a lot of fucking money. And I really don't see a lot of YouTubers talking about this. I don't really see anyone really talking about the Radeon Pro Vega 2 Duo at all. I understand it's not fucking relevant because it's exclusive to Mac, but it is relevant in the conversation that an AMD can compete. Whether or not they choose to is another story entirely, because apparently they chose not to fucking compete by making it exclusive to the fucking Mac like a bunch of dipshits. But that's pretty much that. And so I really just want to make this video short, but I fucking hate YouTube sometimes when I'm looking for reviews, because a lot of the people aren't objective. They don't make rational arguments, and they are very clearly in a bias. And yes, I may be biased towards Intel. Against Intel, I mean. Intel fucking sucks. Apple has confirmed this when Skylake came out. It's a buggy fucking mess. It's full of hardware security vulnerabilities. But if someone, and I have recommended this on Reddit, if someone needs a Wi-Fi card with Bluetooth, or just networking in general, I recommend Intel, because they are the fucking best in that scenario. I have one in my fucking computer right now that I bought. It's an AX card. Works very well. And the drivers are included in the kernel, so just update your kernel, you're fucking good. Unless, of course, you're on Debian or one of those distros that takes the non-free shit out, and then you're fucked, and you have to go and fix that, and that's another nightmare entirely, because if you can't use your network, how the fuck are you supposed to do this? So there's that problem. But in general, whether it's fucking television reviews, fucking hardware reviews, it's all fucking biased one way or another. And I don't really see that many true objective opinions. And maybe that's because, they forgot. I mean, I understand with people like Linus Tech Tips, they covered the Radeon Pro Vega 2 Duo a while back on TechLinked, I think it was. But they haven't really brought it up since then. I haven't really seen Linus Tech Tips talk about that at all, the Ampere, much. But YouTubers like Jay's 2 Cents, and it's very biased right now towards fucking NVIDIA. And he's not the only one, there's a lot of them. It doesn't take too much to search for it, and you'll see. But what amazes me is, I'm not one of these people who with insider information. I'm not one of these fucking people who gets thousands of dollars of hardware for free. And I'm able to recognize that, yes, AMD can compete, and I honestly wouldn't write them off. I really wouldn't. Because they've shown that they can with the fucking Mac exclusive piece of shit. And if they can do something like that again, but for the general public, I feel like they could compete with Ampere. Whether or not they will is a different story. Whether or not their graphics drivers aren't going to be a fucking buggy mess is another thing. Because, fun fact, if you use Linux, you probably know this, the open source drivers generally work better than the proprietary ones. So, maybe AMD needs to hire better software engineers. That's just an opinion there. But don't take anything you see at face value. Do your homework and just try to be objective about this shit. Because, the fucking 3080s aren't out yet. Right now all we have is fucking NVIDIA's word. And nobody's word is really worth shit unless they can back it up. And yeah, sure, NVIDIA has the history to back it up, but so does an AMD. That's basically all I gotta say about that. It's just, fucking YouTube is still full of sensationalist bullshit for clicks, and a lot of it's just biased, and I'll continue watching a lot of these YouTubers, but half the time I'm sitting there looking like, why didn't you do it this way, or what the fuck are you doing? And it's just, these people are professionals, supposedly, and I'm just constantly seeing shit that's not very professional, and it basically makes them look like idiots, but that's pretty much that, especially when it comes to, like, HDR and 4K, and that's another video in and of itself. But in terms of hardware, it's usually biased across the board. One way or another, it's biased towards something. And we haven't really heard anything from AMD yet, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what their numbers are with Big Navi, or whatever the fuck they're calling it. 30 series, 39, I don't fucking know. But if they drop the ball on this, I honestly don't know what the fuck to say. I mean, they've proven they can compete. It really shouldn't be that fucking difficult. I mean, they're already annihilating fucking Intel in the processor space, so I honestly don't know what the fuck they're doing in the graphics card space. I haven't for quite a long time. It just feels like they're constantly fucking lowballing it, and fucking not doing the best they can do in the graphics space with not just their drivers but their hardware as well. I mean, they make great hardware, but like if your software can't utilize it properly, it's fucking dead. You know, it's not gonna fucking perform well. And we saw that with the Radeon 7. It didn't perform as well as it could, um, or it should actually. But AMD is still going to be pretty much. I mean, the only consoles that have NVIDIA drivers, uh, NVIDIA hardware, I mean, is the original Xbox and Switch. Everything else, pretty much everything else, has ATI or AMD graphics. Um, There's a few exceptions to that, but for the most part, it's all AMD throughout console history. NVIDIA really hasn't been that big in the console space. Um, so I just feel like we shouldn't be making videos calling AMD dead on arrival and all this bullshit that's biased towards NVIDIA, because we really don't know. And if you're being objective, you would realize that AMD already can compete. So it wouldn't really take too much to compete with this new shit that NVIDIA just came out with and announced. I'm rambling, so I'm going to end the video there. And I'll see you guys in the next one.